Friedman, former U.S. ambassador to Israel. David, welcome. Thank you for coming on. Your early thoughts on the killing of Sinwar?
Well, we can't underestimate its importance, Larry, and thanks for having me. The war could not end without the elimination of Sinwar, as you point out. It doesn't mean that the war does end with his elimination, but we're further along. You just made a point about the United States pressure on Israel with regard to humanitarian aid and about the failures of the UN. What I just learned a couple of seconds ago, and nothing illustrates better the failure of the UN in Gaza than the fact when they just discovered the bodyguard next to Sinwar when he was killed. This is just a few hours ago that Sinwar was killed. The bodyguard had an ID card, and you know what his occupation was? An UNRWA teacher. That was his occupation.
Wow.
I can't think of a more compelling fact than the failure of the UN in this place than that. So look, it's great. Whether it opens up an opportunity for a hostage deal, it might. Bibi just made an announcement a few minutes ago that whoever's holding the hostages, if they turn them over and lay down their arms, they will not be harmed. So, this is something he could not have said to Sinwar. I mean, the Israel is not going to tolerate Sinwar, being sent on a trip off to Tunis or someplace like that. But now that he's gone, it may create some space. But it's very dynamic. But it's certainly a positive move for Israel. And I thank you for what you said, because it really is the most important point here. Israel is teaching the world how to win a war against terrorists. And the U.S. continues to try to force Israel to play to a tie, just the way they're kind of funding, Ukraine to play to a tie. You don't tie terrorists. You have to beat them. And Israel, whether it's in Hezbollah, which they've almost entirely decapitated, or Hamas, or Iran that they're taking on, Israel is showing the world how to beat terror. And the best thing that could happen is for America to let them win. Yeah,
the civilized world will eventually thank Israel profusely for doing what they're doing, even though we seem to be cluttering it up from time to time too frequently. But let me ask you just a question. You've got a couple of Sinwar deputies or Hamas commanders that are in Qatar. Now, if they are our friend, why don't they arrest them? Just arrest them, send them over to Israel, let them go on trial in Israel, and so forth and so on. Why is Qatar harboring these Hamas criminals and terrorists?
Well, there's no good reason to do that. The argument in the past was Qatar can be a mediator, and they can sort of exercise their influence over, Hania and Mishal. Of course, Hania went off to Tehran, where the Israelis killed him, much to Israel's credit. With Sinwar gone, I don't think anybody left in Qatar has any influence or ability. Again, Hamas has been decapitated. There's no command and control. There's no one there. They're just a bunch of people running it, and there's unfortunately maybe as many as 100 hostages who are in harm's way. Israel is going to have to solve this problem on its own, and if Qatar would help by putting some pressure on, I think that would help get the hostages out of harm's way.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be wise for Qatar to do that, because the game is coming to an end. You're quite right. The head of the snake, Iran. Israel has designs on, I think, military fields, attacking military fields, maybe command and control structures. If you believe what you read, then they're not going to go after the oil fields. They're not necessarily going to go after the nuclear processes, the nuclear facilities, but they may go after various command and control centers, on the ground training centers. Do you reckon that's the next step for Israel? I mean, as you have said, Iran is the head of the snake, and something's got to be done there, because they are, in a sense, they are the root of all evil.
They are. Now, their proxies have been weakened dramatically. Hezbollah is a huge proxy for Iran. As I've said, they're probably at 30% capacity, but Iran is still going to fund all this malign activity. What Israel has to figure out is what to do now, and then the question is, who's going to win the election? I mean, that is an absolutely critical data point for Israel, because if Trump wins, they will have, I think, a much broader runway, and they'll have a partner in America, which they don't have right now. they'll have a partner in America to reimpose massive sanctions, which you're obviously well aware of from your days in government. They'll have a massive opportunity to really put it to Iran and to weaken them and bankrupt them and ultimately, I think, end their nuclear ambitions. That's not going to happen under Harris. And so the question is for them to do as much as they can right now with an uncooperative American administration and then see what happens. The real important actions against Iran may have to wait until after the election and hopefully with an outcome that allows Israel to really take on Iran.
Have you spoken to Prime Minister Netanyahu in the last few hours?
No, I haven't. I don't like to bother people when they're in the midst of things like this, so I haven't. But I hope to catch up with them the next day or two.
I'm just thinking they will continue the sweep through southern Gaza. I don't know, this business, just last thought here, David Friedman. I don't understand, the idea of giving Hamas more aid, first of all. Who is Hamas at this point? And second of all, we know in the past that it's Hamas sympathizers from the UN refugee funds and so forth. I don't even know who was they giving it to? What is this all? The whole thing has now changed. What they've done, what the IDF has done throughout northern and southern Gaza, what they've done to the command and control, what they've done by knocking off Sinwar. I don't know who's getting this aid. What is the point of that?
Look, there really isn't any point. It's political. It's an attempt to show folks in Michigan who care about this in different ways that they're doing something. Hamas steals all the aid anyway. Inside of Gaza, look, I just checked this recently. Inside of Gaza, there's 12 bakeries. They bake over 3 million loaves of pita bread every day. I mean, no one is starving. I mean, nobody would want to live there right now, but no one is starving. It's a difficult place to live. But the sooner the war ends, this is the key point. The sooner the war ends, the quicker you can start getting people back on their feet. And as long as you prolong this war by giving lifelines to Hamas, you're not helping anybody.
Yes, that's it. Former ambassador to Israel, David Friedman. Thank you very much, David. We appreciate